Sarah graduated from Cambridge University, followed her dream to become a Top Gun pilot, was inspired by Top Gun. She quickly found out that fighter planes worked for her, so she switched to helicopters. Well, put your hands together for Sarah. Thank you very much.
So if we want to unitask, which is how we perform better under pressure, it has to be automatic. And we make something automatic through repetition. That's what we did in the military. We trained and we trained and we trained in peacetime, so that when the bullets are flying, unitasking is an automatic habit. And you can do that too. And the good news is you don't have to crash helicopters to practice this. You can find your own way of practicing unitasking. It can be something as simple as just focusing on your breathing, because when you're doing that, you're focusing on one thing and you're choosing your focus.
We're now going to move on to really our second speaker. But what's really remarkable about Amar is, as if all of those achievements weren't enough, he did them despite the fact that he has been blind since the age of 18.
But every time I tried to explore the world, I faced rejection. Travel companies couldn't believe that I would want to and that I would be able to travel as an independent person. So I realized that if you want something that doesn't exist, you've got two simple choices. Either you do without, or you build it yourself. So if I wanted travel to work for me, I had to change the way travel worked. And in 2004, I set up Travelize, the world's first international tour operator to take groups of blind and fully sighted people on holiday. Oh, and we bring them back too.
Now it falls to me to introduce our third and final guest for this evening. You know when you're leaving home in the morning and you say to your partner, if you've got a partner, you say to them, so how do I look? My wife's answer this morning was, not as good as David Coulthard. Ladies and gentlemen, another Scot, David Coulthard.
It was your wife who dressed me, by the way. I think the reason why I still have a relationship with Red Bull today is because I was not going against the tide of change. I recognized I was not getting any faster at 37. I had experience, but there's a crossover in every sport where you start to lose certain decision-making capabilities. I'm sure the same happens in pilots, and there must be a sort of upper age when it comes to being in actually conflict zones where you're able to make certain decisions despite your vast experience. So when I had a neck injury that put me out of testing, it was the same time Sebastian Vettel was there. So I phoned Christian Horner, who wasn't at the test, and said, we should get Seb in the car. He's the coming man. We should evaluate how good he is. And my manager said to me, it's a bit like a turkey voting for Christmas, which I'd never heard before, which I thought was a nice expression. But I recognized that I'd rather be part of a process of change as a true team player than resist that. And back in those days, Sebastian was a good driver.
What's one of the most common incorrect assumptions that people make about disability?
Sometimes you just feel uncomfortable when you meet someone that's a little bit different to yourself. You push that out and let's imagine this different person's got a disability. You just don't want to say the wrong thing. And my advice there would be, if you meet someone that's blind and you've never met anybody blind before, just say, look, I've never met anybody blind. What's the best way of doing this? I'll be guided by you.
What would you love to be exporting into the world of business based on your experience?
Is the training, and I'm always slightly embarrassed in a way when they look at military people and go, oh, you must be, this special person. Of course, I don't want you to think I'm not special. I want you to think I'm superhuman. But it's the time and effort and training that's gone into that performance. I think that's really important. And the other thing, if you want to perform better than your competitors, it has to be safe to mess up. It has to be safe to fail.
I love being part of teams. So for me, the next thing will be something involving people, whether it's helping others through my experience, but what really I've been so lucky in is to be helped by others. And I'm looking forward to being part of the team that helps me learn something more or do something more. And I don't mean that from a financial sense, just life sense, because we just don't know when the next cable's coming round the valley.
Thank you from me. It's been great to see you all. Thank you.